Hello there, and welcome to Funny Business. You know, it's like sitting in a room full of helium and being tickled by Frank Carson. And on this week's Ticklefest, we're talking to funny magician John Lenahan, meeting the stars at the launch of this year's Red Nose Day, and looking at the best comedy on TV and video. Magician John Lenahan has been appearing and disappearing on the British comedy scene for the last 10 years. But now he's said, stuff the white rabbit with his own TV show.
Hello, I'm John Lenahan, and today I'm going to perform for you a classic of magic, the vanishing nuclear cooling tower trick. How are you?
I'm very well, sir. And I believe you are bringing magic, kicking and screaming into the 21st century.
Absolutely, kicking and screaming. It is in the 21st century, isn't it? Yeah. There's a magic show on television. Now, really? I realize that most people would rather, breathe diesel fumes than watch a magic show. But this is a good one. It's not like you're used to.
You would say that, though, wouldn't you?
Yeah, well, that's true. That's true. But it's not like you're used to. This is really a bunch of comedians that do magic, as opposed to a bunch of guys pulling silks out of empty boxes.
And it's called Stuff the White Rabbit.
It is indeed. I'm hosting the show, but most people on are a lot better than I am. And I don't care, because they're great. These towers are going to go completely, and they are not coming back. Vanishing nuclear cooling tower trick. A classic of magic. Gosh, makes my heart soar to think I'm doing this trick. These are nuclear cooling towers, by the way. If you've ever worked with any radioactive material, realize just what a difficult proposition I've set for myself. There we have it, in the traditional magical puff of smoke.
So first and foremost, do you see yourself as a comedian, or do you see yourself as a magician? What's your...
Well, I guess I'm a comedian now, because I work the comedy.
What's on your passport? That's always...
On the passport, I have magician on my passport. Right. But comedian, I mean, I really grew up, and I really learned my stuff in the comedy clubs. I hosted the Comedy Store for years, and Jongleurs, and all of those clubs, and I do tours with comedians, and but Britain really made me a comedian, and I always was kind of a funny performer, but when I came to Britain, the whole kind of ethos about even the street in Covent Garden and then working in the comedy clubs made me a stand-up. I sometimes have done sets where I've done 40 minutes and I've only done one trick. I have to fight to keep the magic in, actually. I'm a magician, it's my strength. It happens to a lot of magicians. The amazing Jonathan, who's on the show, and I'm not criticizing him for it. And Tommy Cooper is kind of the same thing, is with these people who realized they were funny, and eventually it almost was a gag that they were a magician.
So initially...
And so I have to fight that. I have to keep the magic in. Okay, I want you to think of any food item you purchased at any time this year. All right? Not bread or fruit or produce. I want a brand-named item you know and remember. You got one?
Got one.
I have a piece of paper here. Wouldn't it be amazing if on this piece of paper I had predicted the food item you purchased at any time this year?
Surprise me.
It's a miracle!
How did you become a magician? How do you get to this point now?
I learned how to juggle when I got out of high school, and I got a job as a juggler in an amusement park, and I was crap, and they fired me. But they didn't fire me, they demoted me. I had to be a 7-foot bunny rabbit. I was one of those guys with the big outfits on, but I got fired from that because I was...
Where was that?
That was in the Pocono Mountains of Pennsylvania, a dreadful place. And but then I was a 7-foot bunny. I was so pissed off about being fired as a juggler. I was a 7-foot bunny rabbit with an attitude problem, and so they fired me for that. Kids are going, get out of here. I went to a magic shop, and this old vaudevillian had a shop, and he sold me books and a couple tricks, and I taught myself.
There's a famous story about you that you went on. Now, how do they do that?
How do they do that? Yes.
And you revealed.
Well, all right. The dull end of the story is that it was a bum rap. I gave away a trick called the 3-card monte, which is a gambling scam, and then they wrote to me and said, "You have to come and explain this." So I went.
The Magic Circle said that. The
Magic Circle. So I went to the council, the Magic Circle, which is this big, long room full of octogenarians, and they were all sitting around, and it was like, did you ever see Mary Poppins? At the end of Mary Poppins, when he's getting thrown out of the bank, and they take his bowler hat and they punch it. It was just like that. And I kind of said, "Guys, what's the problem?" And they tossed me, but it was the best thing that ever happened to me. I told I told the, it was the Beeb. I told the guy at the Beeb, and he said, "Do you want a press release?" And I said, "Yeah, go ahead." I didn't think anything of it. The next morning I woke up and I was number 4 on CFAX after the Bosnian War.
You were the first person to get to, am I right in saying, the first person to get thrown out of Magic Zone for
85 years, yeah. And the first guy who was thrown out was the founder, and he was the most famous magician in Europe at the time.
Loud and clear, call out the name of the food item you purchased at any time this year.
Beef burgers.
Beef burgers, that famous brand name product. Mind you, any brand of beef burgers?
Bird's Eye.
Bird's Eye beef burgers. Get you a discount on them now if you like. Unbelievable, ladies and gentlemen, I have here the barcode for Bird's Eye.
And John Lenahan will magically reappear in part 2.
Yuri now has a new scheme. He's on the internet. Yuri Geller in cyberspace. There's a scary thought. Yuri has a web page on the internet where you can log in, and Yuri's offering £1 million if someone could bend a spoon using a computer.
And by magic, the second part of our John Lenahan interview. Now, as I said before, you're bringing magic kicking and screaming in the 21st century. Is there a sort of a groundswell of all these new young people trying to push it? Because there's Penn and Teller, of course.
Yeah, well, there's Penn and Teller. I mean, Teller's the reason why I do magic. Yeah. I mean, I saw Teller on the street in Philadelphia, like in 1973 or something. He used to be a street performer. And the only difference between those guys and kind of crap magic that you see is that they think, you know? They just think about it, and they, I mean, when you ask them what their influences are, they don't reel off a name of old magicians. They say things like, you know, Johnny Rotten, and you know, they have influences that are way outside magic.
I'm going to bend this spoon using psychic powers and a personal computer.
So if you got some advice for a budding young magician, what would be a good trick to start with?
My advice is to go, you know, go into plumbing.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. Because I don't need competition in 10 years' time. I mean, who does? Or do the banana trick. Magic with fruit is always quite good.
Spooky.
About 15, 20 minutes of this. 30 tops.
Sometime later.
You think I'm joking, don't you? You're over there going, my God, his pocket must be so large. I think magic holds up a lot better than stand-up does on TV. Because once again, at least there's another element other than comedy in there.
But I suppose in a way the problem is with TV is that people don't trust TV in the fact that, you know, the camera tricks.
Well, one of the lines I said in the show, I made a car vanish in one of the shows as well at the beginning, and you'll see that. And one of the lines, it's my favorite line in the whole show. Nobody else laughs at it, but it's like all comedians have a line in their show that only they like and the audience doesn't. And my line was, and remember, here at Stuff the White Rabbit, we never use camera tricks unless it's absolutely necessary. And I don't care if you don't believe me or not. I mean, it's good fun.
So do you use some tricks?
I have in my day, yes.
You heard it here first.
No, actually, tell you what. In Stuff, we haven't used a camera trick. Yeah, I can say that. No, we didn't use a camera trick in all Stuff. No.
But we don't use them here either.
Even, yes. That's the cue for me to just vanish into a...
Well, thank you, young man. It's, I'll be looking forward to the series.
Shucks, it's good.
And I'll be practicing at home with me cards and my bananas. And
your cards in your bed. Did I give you any cards or anything?
No, you didn't.
No.
Have you got any cards with you?
No, I don't.
No, well, that's probably why you didn't give me any then, isn't it? Thank you very much.
A pleasure.
And
Shucks.
goodbye.
Can I go?